Now, let us take out the command station here. We're aiding civilian authorities, which means it's time to use our metal. I'm going to use the metal by building a couple of force fields here.
Energy reserves critical.
And I know that our energy reserves are critical, which is why I should be destroying one more of these. So, then let's also build our pike turrets. We have a pretty big starting planet. Also, let's get our support fleet through here. The pike turrets towards the wormhole.
Energy low. Force fields
And then
vulnerable
at
to
the
disruption.
range edge of the pike turrets, I'm going to build the tractor race. I also need to destroy another converter so that we can build all of them. That should be all for now. We are starting to use the metal we've been given. We will be using more.
Calling it a Dyson sphere.
So a couple of new logs. We will take a look at those in a moment. First, I'm going to build an economic command station. Now, there's a lot of, I'm almost going to say, philosophies when it comes to where command stations should be built. I like to block the AI's path to my homeworld especially. So I'm going to place the command station very, very close. And once it is built, I see civilians have already put up a trade station here. Let's come on, destroy the rest here. And build this. Once this is built, I'm going to build the force fields on the side of the command stations. This means that if there is an enemy exostrike or something else that wants to travel through the wormhole, they will first have to deal with the force fields, but they won't be dealing with them all the way. So at a certain point this unlocks and the enemy can move through. However, we will hopefully have dealt a good amount of damage with turrets and other defenses, while the command station itself is still shielded. So this planet has technologist, or as it's now called, exotic, I believe. This is important because our attacks here also boost the civilian ships of that tech group. Other than that, this planet is building up. We have a bit more vision on the galaxy, but let's check out the journals that we have. Spire Spheres, the Grey Spire. Commander, we have received communications from the Grey Spire on walls. While our translation software is rough at best, they appear to seek peaceful relations with us. Their only notable request being we not linger on their sphere world for too long, lest they respond with force. I kind of feel the same. And they are here on walls. This is what they look like. Right now the AI owns this planet, but it's not going to keep this planet for long. Let me tell you. Then we have the Dark Spire. Commander, we are detecting some major new structures from a new race we are calling the Dark Spire. These vengeance generators seem to be drawing power from the deaths of nearby units. We must be wary about fighting on those planets. Very. We have one right here next to us. We can also hack ships from them, which is a very good way to get into a lot of trouble, let me tell you. Then we also have a couple of other things. We have support factory here. We have a Lost Spire frigate here, and it's the triple beam variant, which is extremely powerful. And also a major data center here. So this planet I'm definitely going to mark as I want this. Then we have a other defense schematic server that we can hack defenses from, and a destroyer construction facility with Hellfire and nuclear destroyers. Interesting. So, it is time to take a bit of a look at the topology of our galaxy now that we can see a tiny bit more of the galaxy that we are living in. And first, we're going to see the asteroid counts. Our homeworld always starts with 6. And the asteroid counts, while they are not very important outside of the distributed resource generation mode, we are playing with that enabled, so they are important for us. The more asteroids, the significantly better it would be to place a economic command station there instead of, well, any other command station. So we have 8 here, which is very good, because that provides us with a lot of economy. Other than that, this would be 10, the absolute maximum, and 9 here is also good, but we would have to draw the ire of the Grey Spire, and there's nothing else here right now that I would see giving us any sort of advantage if we captured the planet. However, a support fleet and 10 asteroids, that's juicy, to say the least. This planet doesn't have a lot of asteroids, but we would be building something that is more able to defend the major data center anyway. So no harm done in this having fewer asteroids. The others here are relatively normal. 2, I believe, is the absolute minimum, but there's also no capturables here. That said, the vengeance generator hacks are cheaper when you can do them on a planet that you own, or at least a planet that isn't owned by enemies. Then we also have this planet here with just 4, but this would be a choke world that I would want to defend. At least defend against these 2 wormholes, because we may be able to put a few defenses at least here, and ease up on the defenses this planet has towards Arden here. Then we can take a look at the science and hacking points. We see that this world is really well. It has slightly above average science and hacking counts, mostly because the adjacency bonuses have already been added to these numbers. Same here. That's why, in theory, you could only get 60 hacking on a planet, but if it's adjacent, you can get 10 more. So technically, you can get up to 70 hacking if you capture a world that's adjacent. So this planet really has a lot of hacking still, and it also has a good amount of science due to the adjacency, although it would be below average for all the other worlds if they weren't adjacent. This planet already has above average science and hacking. Now this world here is also pretty good. It has above average on both, and since we want to take it, that's really cool. Same with this planet here, because that also has above average on everything. These worlds here aren't that amazing. I mean, there is a lot here still. Well, actually, it's a very good amount. Yeah, over 4,000 science points. Might be worth looking at. This planet is about average. This planet is also very good. We are hitting a lot of good planets. Honestly, I didn't expect that. Last try, the Take 3, I really didn't have a lot of luck with this one. Then we have worlds here, which has good hacking points, but very low science points. So yeah, not really interesting in that sense. Is there anything else we would want to take a look at? We can take a look at gravity well sizes. Our home world with 104 is really big, then 52 is average. And we are only seeing 52s everywhere else, so no cramped small planets. At least not yet. And then we can go back to normal. Defense-wise, we have conquered this planet without much problem. If we go in this direction, we would be facing off against the Ragnarok AI. As you can see, they have more defenses that are Dark Spire and Dark Zenith ships. And if we go into the Brown AI, they have anti-armor stuff here. They have anti-engine power stuff here. And trippers as a bonus, I'm guessing. This planet we will not be worrying about. But it also has anti-armor stuff. And this planet here has a mix of all sorts of strikecraft. So yeah, I don't think the Brown AI has rolled anything that is focusing on ships of a special kind. On the Vengeance Generator planet, that's also the case, yeah. We will see what we are facing, what waves we are getting, and what other shenanigans might happen. So, I'm going to rebuild a couple of converters, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're going to build up this planet with turrets. Now, since the wormholes are so close together, I can actually cover everything. Briar patches in order to slow down enemies and deal a tiny bit more damage. Gravity core, or gravity generator with a gravity core, so that we can slow down enemies further, and tractor beams so that we can hold them in place. That's going to be it for now. Everything else will follow. So let's take a look into this world. We have an attritioner command station, which means that we should be wary about fighting on this planet with a lot of strikecraft for an extended period of time. Luckily, it doesn't have a lot of strength here. But we won't be fighting just yet. First, I will want to get this new fleet here. So let's advance the construction. Kill the last vestiges of AI control here. Then we will see what we end up with and what we can get. And what techs for ships we might want to upgrade. Now that we see a bit more of the galaxy we're living in, we can see what techs we might want to take. So, let's max out the power generation. The conversion here. We have enough energy, hopefully, to build up this fleet. It's a normal transport, so I'm going to throw everything else in here. So, let's take a look at the new ships we have been blessed with. We have Cloaked Viral Shredders, which is obviously a variant of the Viral Shredder. They create copies of themselves and they are cloaked, which helps them close in on enemies before they need to attack. And they also only use 15% of their cloaking points when they attack instead of the whole 100%, which means that they can stay cloaked for a couple of attacks. They can stay cloaked for 6 attacks or about 5 seconds, because the first second is also going to be the first attack. Or, well, in the first second 2 attacks will happen. So for 5 seconds basically they can stay cloaked even while attacking enemies, which helps with a bit of damage. Also, they will not be intercepted nearly as much in the meantime. Then we have the Vanguard Hydra, a variant of the Vanguard. It adds acid damage, or damage amplification. And this means that all other ships are going to do bonus damage. The faster enemies fire and the more shots enemies have, the better is this, because they deal a flat amount of bonus damage. So our Cloaked Viral Shredders, for example, at 90 damage would deal 110 damage with the plus 20 here. Then we have Parasite Hydras. Oh, before I forget, the Vanguard Hydras, when they die, they split into a couple of heads. So they aren't dead just yet. They just they go down slower and can spawn a couple more targets the enemy might want to shoot at. Parasite Hydra have the same mechanic. They are a variant of the Parasite, and they do a lot of zombification damage. When something has enough zombification damage stacks, in this case 10,000, then the enemy will become a zombie when killed, which means that we are able to have it as an ally. As an ally that self-attritions over a couple of minutes. I think, like, what is this? I think 30 minutes or something like that. And yeah, we can have this help even in active combat, which means that if it's a long war of attrition, we are gaining a good edge.